Ms. Sanchez, an electronic notary in New York, is performing a remote notarial act for a principal she does not personally know. The principal is located within the United States and presents a valid, current government-issued ID through the communication technology platform. Before starting, Ms. Sanchez attempts to disable the location detection feature of her notarial software and relies solely on visually inspecting the ID. According to the New York State Notary Public law requirements for electronic notarial acts, which of the following statements must she adhere to? 1. She must use credential analysis and third-party identity proofing if the principal is not personally known to her and appears remotely. 2. She must not use any device or process to disguise or hide her actual location during the notarial act. 3. She may rely solely on her own visual inspection of the principal's ID for remote notarization if it is valid and current. 4. She must ensure the communication technology permits recording and archiving the entire audio-video session of the notarial act. 5. She must use vendors or providers that comply with the standards outlined in Section 182.4. Well, let's have a look at each of these statements in isolation as each pertains to the relevant law to help us determine the solution. Statement 1. She must use credential analysis and third-party identity proofing if the principal is not personally known to her and appears remotely. If we have a look at Section 182.5, found in the Notary Public License Law booklet, entitled Satisfactory Evidence of Identity, it states under subsection C, for any individual signing a document who appears before an electronic notary public using communication technology and who is not personally known to the notary public, satisfactory evidence of identity requires all of the following. 1. Identity verification as outlined in subdivision B of this section, utilizing communication technology that meets the requirements set forth in this part. 2. Credential analysis that meets the requirements set forth in this part. And 3. Identity proofing by a third-party service provider that meets the requirements set forth in this part. Therefore, when Statement 1 states that she must use credential analysis and third-party identity proofing, this is a correct statement based on the law that I read from before, and we can put a check mark next to number 1. 2. She must not use any device or process to disguise or hide her actual location during the notarial act. If we have a look at Section 182.4, found in the Notary Public License Law booklet, entitled Additional Requirements for Electronic Notaries, it states under subsection A, and I know it's a bit small, so I'll read it for you. In addition to the requirements set forth in Section 182.3 of this part, all notaries public who wish to perform electronic notarial acts in New York State must, and it's subsection 4 of subsection A, use a network that permits location detection when performing an electronic notarial act, meaning that no action, process, or device shall be used to disguise or hide the actual location from which the electronic notary is performing the electronic notarial act, etc. So indeed, when Statement 2 states that she may not disguise her location, that is indeed what's stated in the law, and therefore it's an accurate statement, and we can put a check mark next to number 2 as well. 3. She may rely solely on her own visual inspection of the principal's ID for remote notarization if it is valid and current. Well, this is not stated anywhere in the law, and in fact goes against all the various mechanisms that are in place for ensuring a proper electronic notarization, and therefore Statement 3 is inaccurate, and we should put an X next to it. 4. She must ensure the communication technology permits recording and archiving the entire audio-video session of the notarial act. If we have a look at Section 182.8, found in the Notary Public License Law booklet, entitled Communication Technology, it states under subsection A, the communication technology used to perform electronic notarial acts must, subsection 6, permit recording and archiving of the audio-video communication session as required by subdivision B of this section. So indeed, Statement 4, by stating that she must use communication technology that permits recording and archiving, etc., is an accurate statement, and we can put a check mark next to it. And finally, Statement 5, she must use vendors or providers that comply with the standards outlined in Section 182.4. So if we have a look again at Section 182.4, under subsection A, subsection 2, it states that the Electronic Notarial Act must use only those vendors or providers who comply with the standards outlined in this part. So indeed, Statement 5 is also an accurate statement, and we can put a check mark next to it. With this in mind, let's have a look at the 4 choices to determine the solution. Choice A states 1, 2, and 4 only are statements that she must adhere to. This is incorrect because she must also adhere to Statement 5, and therefore choice A is not her solution. Choice B states 2, 3, and 5 only. This is incorrect because she must also adhere to 1 and 4, and therefore choice B is not her solution. Choice C states 1, 2, 4, and 5 only. Well, this is our solution based on having check marks next to 1, 2, 4, and 5 above. But to be in the habit of looking at all 4 choices, let's have a look at choice D. Choice D states 1, 2, 3, and 5 only. This is incorrect. 3 is not a statement that she must adhere to, whereas 4 is, and therefore choice D is not our solution, which indeed leaves choice C, 1, 2, 4, and 5 only, as the correct solution.